I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In our series of trigonometry, we are taking examples based on primary trigonometric ratios. In this video, we'll focus on tangent ratio and its applications. We'll have about 15 questions here. We'll solve right triangles. We'll have a multiple choice test. Solve multiple right triangles. Understand questions related to angle of elevation and depression. We'll have more application examples, followed by some bonus questions. Let me share with you the list of questions first. So here are questions. We are given a triangle in which height is given to you, angle is given to you. You need to find the distance d. Choices are given to you. Well, you can actually answer these questions one by one and then look into my suggestions later. Here is question number 2, which is again a similar triangle as before, where distance and angle theta is given, but we need to find the height. As you know, tangent ratio is the ratio which relates them, and so easily you can find it. You need to use calculator for this particular exercise, so be ready with your calculators. Question number 3. So we are given a situation from a point, we're looking at the top and the bottom. So this relates to height of buildings sometimes. So you could have an application question where the angle of elevation and angle of depression is being measured from a smaller building for the higher building. And if you know the distance between them, you can find the building's height. That's the question. Question number 4. Very common question. Angle subtended is a good concept to understand, which is same as angle of depression. Sometimes the word angle subtended confuses students, and so they do not get this question. So the question here is, angle subtended by the tree top to the person 50 meters away on the road is 30 degrees. So angle subtended is this angle, which is same as angle of depression. Okay. Question number 5. Find angle of elevation of a balloon shown in this particular figure. So the angle which we need to find angle of elevation is this angle, right? We are given the coordinate points here, 100, 120. Based on this, you need to write down the answer. Very good. Question number 6. So here we are given tan theta as 15 by 8. Write the value of sine theta. So we're trying to relate one trigonometric ratio with the other. I hope you are answering the questions as we move along. Question number 7. Now here I would like you to sketch the diagram and then solve. It is kind of important in trigonometry to sketch what is being said. Then the solution becomes much simpler, right? The angle of elevation to the top of the tree from a distance of 50 meters from its foot is 30 degrees. Find the height of the tree. Question 8. So we kind of have a different kind of a question here, connecting the trigonometric ratios. We call this cofunction identity. The question is, what is the value of tan 90 minus theta times tan theta? You can take the help of the diagram given to get the answer. Question number 9. A tree is splintered by lightning 2 meters up its trunk so that the top part of the tree touches the ground. The angle of top of the tree forms is the top of the tree forms is 75 degrees. Find the height of the tree to the nearest tenth of meter before the lightning struck. So again, you need to sketch the diagram and then solve. Perfect. Question number 10. Very good situation. You have seen many questions like this. We need to find the height of a tree. A person measures 10 meters from the base of the tree and measures an angle of 55 degrees from a point 1.2 meters above the ground, right? Find the height of the tree. Question 11. In the given triangle, alpha is 30, beta is 60 degrees, right? These two angles are given to you. Find height if distance is 20. D is also given between these two observation points, and you need to find the height. This is a method of finding height of objects, distant objects. Question 12. So we have two triangles, rather, as shown here. And in this triangle, we know AC is 125, angle A is 25, angle C is 30 degrees. You need to find the height in this case. And in the next example, you need to find the distance DC, which is X. Very important question at this stage, right? So these are slightly difficult questions. Question number 14 here. In this video, we'll discuss a challenge question from IBHL test paper. Rational function graph is given to us. We need to find its equation below, and then graph reciprocal absolute value of the same. We'll understand the strategy to solve such questions with a similar example. Point on the graph are 30 and 60 degrees respectively. Find the distance between the planes. You need to find this particular distance. Choices are given to you. Question 15. So we had a similar question earlier, but now the question is slightly different. Is create your own problem, right, with the given situation and then solve it. So that's interesting. We had a similar example. And here's a real life situation. We can measure the height of towers, CN Tower for example, and that is how we could do it. To find the height of CN Tower in downtown Toronto, Canada, Anil took advantage of the perpendicular roads. So we have roads which go north, south and east, west, right? So they are at right angles. A crossing where the east-west road intersects the north-south was selected as a point O. Right? So you have to label the diagram, which is purposely not labeled for you. OT was marked as the baseline. So this is the baseline, 50 meters long, where T is due east of O, right? Angle of elevation to the top of CN Tower from T is 75 degrees. From T, the angle of elevation. Find the height of CN Tower if O is 110 meters due south of tower. Many technical terms are used here. So these will help you to understand and to get ready for the higher level of questions coming soon. You get the idea. Perfect. So I'd like you to do this bonus question, and here's another very important application. You have seen this particular as a multiple choice test question earlier. Now this question can be solved, and here is the formula for both x and h. You remember, right? We can find this x value and the height using the formula. Derivation of the formula is also given here. Some of you who are more interested can actually focus on this and try to understand the situation. So now, I think we can begin with solution of question number 1. Those who want to learn from me can definitely send an email on the address given. Most of my students are right there on top of the class getting highest marks. Some are getting scholarships and awards like Akshit.
After attending university. The winner of this year's Certificate of Achievement Schulich Leader Award is Akshit Kandivani.
Great. Our student Akshit gets highest marks and the most prestigious Schulich leader award. You can be there. Join our classes and excel. Okay, now get ready with your calculators and let's go cracking. So we have the very first example here which says triangle H is 25. So we're given this side as 25. Theta is 35. This angle is 35 degrees. And we need to find D. So label the diagram, right? As soon as you do that, we know we're looking at two sides, one of which is opposite, the other one is adjacent. So the ratio of opposite to adjacent is what tan theta is, right? So tan of angle 35 is equal to 25 over D, right? And so we can say that D is cross multiply, right? 25 over tan 35. Use calculator. So we have 25 divided by tan of 35 to give the answer, which is 35.7. So option C is the correct option. Do you see that? So that is how we can easily answer these questions. Perfect. Here is question number 2. So write down what is given to you, right? D is 25. This time we are given D as 25. Theta again 35 degrees. And we have to find height. So again we can use this tangent ratio, which is tan of 35 degrees, is equal to height over 25, right? Since we know SOHCAHTOA, right? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. And what is tan? Opposite over adjacent. So we are using this ratio. Opposite side being h, adjacent being d. Perfect. And now you can cross multiply. And so we get 25 times tan 35 equals to h. So let's multiply 25 this time with tan of 35. And what do you get? 17.5, which is option A, right? So do you notice one thing, that whenever a triangle is given to you, then the opposite side is actually the product of these two, correct? So that's a good observation and that helps. Question number 3. So we have now two triangles involved, angle of elevations. You will see in many examples later. In the given triangle, alpha is 25. So this is 25 degrees. Beta is 35 degrees. Okay. And the distance is 60 meters. Find height. So we have to find this height now. So let's say it is split into x and y. Then height is sum of x and y. Correct? You get the idea. So it is two triangles combined together. And we know the height is product of these two, right? So we know what is x equals to. X, last time we did, 60 times tan of 25 plus y will be what? So let me write the complete height, which is x plus y, right? Or let me write like this. Height equals to x plus y, right? And we know x will be 60 times tan of 25 plus y is 60 times tan of 35. Do you see that? So this time see how easy it was. We directly multiplied and got it. We did not even write that tan theta equals to height over distance, and therefore height is distance times tan theta. You see that? So we come out with another result, another way of looking at the tangent ratio. And that actually improves our speed and reduces time for finding answers. You see that? Perfect. So that is how we learn, right? And then you can do the math. 60 times tan of 25 and then add it to 60 times tan of 35, right? So when you add it, you get 69.99, which is 70, right? So we get option A as our answer. Right, some of you could now think like this, that we could just do the tan part separately and we could use 60 times tan of 25 plus tan of 35 degrees, correct? Now it's important to write degrees also. I sometimes miss them, however, you should not, right? So do you see how with each example we are actually learning and see effectively? What we have noticed here is this kind of situation is there. We could work out the tan and then multiply both by 60, right? Instead of multiplying by them individually by 60, right? It saves time, that's the only thing. And calculation errors also, right? Makes sense? Question 4. So sketch diagram and solve. Well, this time I gave you the diagram. Angle subtended by the treetop to the person 50 meters away. So it's labeled diagram is 30 degrees. Find the angle of elevation from uh, the person to the tree. Well, angle of elevation is simple, right? Because these two lines are parallel, correct? And therefore, angle of elevation will be 30 degrees. But now let's change the question here. So question 4b, a new question for you is find the height of tree. Correct? So let's do that part. And height, as you know, now we know this angle is 30 degrees, right? So what should be the height? 50 times tan of 30 degrees, right? You get the idea, right? So the height is 50 times tan of 30 degrees, correct? So you get your answer. So remember one thing, that subtended angle, the angle of depression and elevation are same in real life situations, right? Okay, let's move on to question number 5. So find the angle of elevation of a balloon shown in this figure from point A. So from this point, you have to find the angle of elevation. Now, to make it complicated, I could have given coordinates of point A also. But see, the angle is same whether you measure it at the origin O or there, right? And what is the angle? Well, angle is given by tan theta, right? So rise over run, 120 by 100, correct? So of course we can use theta equals to tan inverse of 120 over 100. Purposely the values are not simplified, just to give you the view of what tan theta is, right? So tan theta is ratio of 120 to 100 tan inverse as shown here. Get an idea, right? So these questions are helping you build a concept and get ready for more difficult questions to come. Question 6 is, tan theta is 15 by 8, write the value of sine theta. So remember SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. So if we are given the value of tan theta, that means what? Sketch a right angle triangle, right? So if you sketch a right angle triangle and you know that the value of tan theta means if this angle is theta is 15 by 8 means the ratio of opposite side to adjacent, right? Because tan theta is what? Tan theta is opposite over adjacent, right? And that is 15 by 8. Now you need to find sine theta means you should first find what hypotenuse is. So we'll apply the Pythagorean theorem to find the hypotenuse, right? That's one way of doing it. Or you could also find the angle. But since these dimensions are given to you, it's better to find the hypotenuse, which is going to equal to how much? So let's label this ABCD, okay? So AC is equal to square root of 8 square plus 15 square, square root, right? So what is this equal to? So 8 square plus 15 square is 289. And when you do square root of 289, you get 17. And therefore, this side is 17 and sine theta is what? Sine theta is the ratio of opposite side over hypotenuse, which has to be 17. So 15 over 17 is the last option here, and that is the correct option. Is this process clear to you? So we have related one trigonometric ratio with the other, correct? So I hope you're finding it interesting and useful, right? Slowly we are building a great concept, and that's how I teach. In case you want to learn, you can always join my classes. Now let's move on to the next question. Now sketch diagram and solve. The angle of elevation to the top of the tree from a distance of 50 meters from its foot is 30 degrees. So basically, let's say this is the ground level, right? And let's assume that this is the tree for us. Okay. We're saying that the angle of elevation means kind of like this. This is the angle of elevation. Makes sense, right? So the angle of elevation to the top of the tree from a distance of 50 meters from its foot is 30 degrees. And this distance is 50 meters. Did you see that? Makes sense. That becomes the diagram. Find the heights. Let's put height as unknown h, right? And then we can say tan of 30 degrees is equal to height over 50, right? And therefore, height is equals to 50 times tan of 30 degrees. Now, many times this question comes without calculator. The reason is that some of you will know the special triangles, right? Here's a special triangle. So if my angles are 30, 60, 90, then the sides are 1, 2 and square root 3. So you can use this triangle and find the tan 30 degrees, which is 1 over, so opposite side being 1, right, from 30 and adjacent square root 3. So you can say that the height is equals to 50 times 1 over square root 3. You get the idea. So without calculator also, you can find this answer accurately, and this is called the exact value. So let me write down here. Exact value. So height is 50 over square root 3. Now, some of you may even go a step ahead to rationalize it, right? And write this as 50 square root 3 over 3, correct? So that becomes the height in meters. So it all depends on at which level you're working, right? Any of these could be the right answer. And of course, you could always say 50 times tan of 30, right? And that is in decimals. Equal to how much? 28.86 rounded to 28.9, right? You get the idea. So that is how you could actually solve questions. So in question number 7 itself, we learned many concepts. We learned about the special triangle. We learned how do we sketch the figure and visualize the solution, right? Perfect. Next question here is a co-function identity. It says, what is the value of tan 90 minus theta times tan theta? Now, I'd like you to pause the video and answer this question. Now, when I say tan theta, it means what? Let me label this diagram also, right? So let's write down A, B, C, D here, right? A, B, C is enough, right? Triangle, 3 points. So when I say tan 90, so what is tan 90 equals to? Oh, sorry, tan theta equals to? Tan theta is opposite over adjacent, so it will be CB over AB, right? Now what is tan of 90 minus theta? 90 minus theta basically is the cofunction, right? This angle is 90 minus theta, right? So if you look from there, then the opposite side is AB, right? And adjacent becomes CB. You get the idea, right? So that is how we get these two. And when you multiply this, then what do you get, right? Now let's do tan theta times tan 90 minus theta, right? So that means we get CB over AB times AB over CB, right? How much is that? Well, that is just exactly 1. Perfect. Always, this is true. So they are reciprocal of one another. You get the idea. So that is how the cofunction identity works. So these are reciprocals of one another, and always that will be true. Very important learning, right? So with every question you are learning, and that's the beauty, right? So you can always contact me personally also. Well, here is another question which is seen in many tests. The question here is sketch diagram and solve. A tree is splintered by lightning 2 meters up its trunk so that the top part of the tree touches the ground. The angle of the top of the tree forms is 75 degrees. Find the height of the tree to the nearest tenth of meter before lightning struck. So in this case, what is the case, right? So basically this time we had a tree. Okay, let's see. We had a tree here, right? But it broke. Okay, so let me just use another pen. Okay, so and from somewhere it broke, right? And therefore, what really happened was that this portion, let's say this top portion of the tree, it comes down, right? So when it comes down, it hits like this. Do you see that? That is the situation. So the point where the lightning struck is this, which is 2 meters up. So this is 2 meters from the ground, right? Now let's say this distance was x. In that case, this distance is also x because it just fell down, right? The top fell down like this. Now it says the angle the top of the tree forms is 75 degrees. So this angle is 75 degrees. It doesn't look like that, but assume that to be 75 degrees. Find the height of the tree to the nearest tenth of the meter before the lightning struck. So basically, we have to find this height. Means x to be added to 2. You get the idea. So all the examples here are not tangent ratio based, right? So you can see for yourself that sine is a ratio of opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, tan is opposite over adjacent. So which ratio should you use to find x? Well, from 75 degrees, we are given hypotenuse, which we need to figure out, and the opposite side. That means we are working with sine, right? So we can say sine of 75 degrees is 2 over x. And therefore, x is equal to 2 over sine 75 degrees. Make sense? So use calculator to figure this out. So it's a very good question. I hope you understand, because diagram was also not very easy, right? So the value comes out to be around 2.07, right? So let me write 2.1. Okay. So that becomes the x value, but says, now the question here is, find the height of the tree to the nearest tenth before the lightning struck. So we have to add both, right? So height is the total height, correct? Before the lightning struck. So this height we need to figure out. So the height will be equals to 2.1 plus 2, which is 4.1 meters. Make sense? So that is how this question will be solved. See how the questions are becoming more and more interesting. Are you there with me? Right? Well, in case you feel like, you can always send an email on this address and then we can work it out. Now here is question number 10, which says, to find the height of a tree, a person measures 10 meters from the base of the tree. So that is the distance 10 meters. And measures an angle of 55 degrees from a point 1.2 meter above the ground. So 55 degrees, 1.2 meters above the ground. Find the height of the tree. Can you please pause and answer this question? Well, as you can see here, the distance 10 meters means this is 10, right? And height edge will be equals to multiply 10 with tan of 55 degrees, correct? And then we'll add 1.2 to find the full height, right? Okay, so 10 times tan of 55 gives you what? It gives you 14.3. I'm rounding to one decimal place. And to this 14.3, I have to add 2 meters, correct? So total height. 14.3 plus 2 meters. Because this 1.2 meters, sorry. (1.2 meters), and that gives me 15.5 meters, correct? So option D is the right option. You understand how we did this question, right? Go through it once again. Try to understand. Perfect. So we have done 10 questions which I wanted to do in this particular video. Question number 11. Very interesting question. And how do we do it? I like you to actually understand the problem created by me. This is a real situation. I go for a walk in Humble, and that's what I do. And I like you to use this particular formula also. Rather derive it first, right? Derivation is also given to you. Have a good look at it. And then you solve question number 11, right? Question number 12. We have two triangles to solve, which is also related to question number 13. 14 also two triangles and the tower question, along with one which we just solved. Now in this case, you have to create your own new question and then find solution. Perfect. So we're going to end our video at this stage. Perfect. I'm going to take these questions separately, one by one, as their solutions are slightly longer, right? Here you can see we have a 3D figure. So I'll take them separately. Already this video is pretty long. I hope you understand. Feel free to make your suggestions. In case you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. In case you want to learn from me, once again, you can contact me on the email address given or even at the website. Perfect. Thank you once again and have a great day. Bye.